Would like to apologize for starting the news late. This was due to circumstances beyond our control. Welcome. It's now time for the news. Let's take a look at stories making headlines. Fire guts gas store in Makeni Konga area. Lusaka woman calls for government's aid due to floods. Republican President Hakainde Hichilema says energy is life. Amo to soon hand over a mother's shelter to government. Thank you so much for joining us with the news in detail. I'm Bright Sinkos. Fire has swept through a gas selling stand along Salim Drive, Oriental Company area in Makeni Konga in Lusaka. The incident occurred yesterday around 17 hours after one of the workers connected a cell phone charger to the adapter, resulting in some sparks which ignited the gas cylinder suspected to have had a gas leakage. Lusaka City Council LCC Public Relations Manager Chola Mwambas confirmed the development to Hope News that the incident involved 745 kgs of LPG cylinders used as main supply for gas retail business. Ms. Mwamba said after receiving a report from the owner of the store, Abraham Mukanda, the fire brigade successfully extinguished the fire.
The Lusaka City Council Fire Brigade has successfully extinguished a fire that had engulfed a gas selling stand along Salimu Drive, Oriental Company area in Makeni Konga. The fire, which is reported to have started approximately 17 hours yesterday, was discovered by the owner of the store, named as Mr. Abraham Mukanda, with his worker, who immediately reported the incident to the local authorities' fire brigade. The fire rescue team responded swiftly, arrived at the scene immediately, and managed to quench the fire by 1845 hours. Details of the incident are that the fire started after one of the workers connected a cell phone charger on the adapter, resulting in some sparks which ignited the gas cylinder suspected to have had gas leakage. The incident involved a 745 kgs of LPG cylinders used as main supply for gas retail business. The cause of fire is suspected to have originated from an electric fault, causing severe damage to the structure building and other items which are yet to be assessed and costed. The council would like to report that no loss of life or injuries were recorded during the incident, as a quick action from the fire brigade prevented the cylinders from exploding. The local authority urges shop owners and members of the public to ensure that electric installations in their business premises and homes are done by experts to avoid such incidents. The local authority remains committed to safeguarding human life and property in the city.
A resident in Lusaka's Kalikiliki area has appealed to government for assistance of a flooded house in the area due to the continued downpour of rains. Elina Masuka stated that the recent heavy rains have left their home severely flooded, causing significant damage to their belongings. She disclosed that most of their belongings, like books for their children, documents and clothes among others, have been soaked and destroyed. Kalikiliki Ward Councillor Shadrack Mwanza has sympathized with the affected family. However, he has lamented that the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit has never provided any form of relief to the area despite making assessments in the area.
Pemba kwa tendizo kansela please manzi angena kuipa mnyumba tibena pogona kulibepo na valeti ngatite mabuku ya bana ku skulu nsapato bonze vanana na titianganire koche kulimwe tibemba shuwa titandizile goni ne pano na mimba ya 4 months bova voze vamwana vanena gulako bonse vanana bantu muno die mnyumba mwane mwangene wa manzi matika yonsaya onani government shuwa tilira batandizire nkoni bantu manza iya onani vintu mwane vanongekera vavantu shuwa vantu vazagona muno munyumba olo bwanji muno munyumba sangagone vantu government please tiyangane nkoni onani vantu vanana vintu vanana mabova vakuskulu ero vana vena ngwaligazi tate vao vena ngwaligazi mai vao.
God has blessed us with the rains, but you know the rains always come with consequences. So these consequences, flooding, and different diseases like cholera and diarrhea. So it's up to us as the residents to take care of our environment, and also for the government through the DMMU to be ready for any disaster that may occur. But as far as I'm concerned, from the time I became a councillor, I have never seen any support from DMMU coming into my ward. Since 2021, 2022, and these other times that we had the rains, there's never been any help from the DMMU. DMMU has been coming only to inspect the problems. Once they inspect, you give them lists, they go for good. So we don't know whether, because as far as I'm concerned, DMMU only exists in villages. We only hear it in Makanyama, Machanchan. Meanwhile, the people that are almost losing their lives here, losing their properties, DMMU is nowhere to be seen.
Away from disaster-related news, we now focus our attention to some developmental items. Republican President Hakainde Hichilema says while he agrees that water is life, he believes that energy should equally be considered as life. Speaking during the ongoing Mission 300 Africa Energy Summit in Tanzania, Mr. Hichilema said it is impossible to extract water for human consumption, agriculture and industrial use without energy. Meanwhile, President Hichilema has disclosed that Zambia is committed to universal energy access. He recounted Zambia's energy predicament from a position of having plenty energy to export to other countries in the region and from nowhere the country is in need. Mr. Hichilema said the resultant outcome has taught the country a lesson that diversification is important and that the Mission 300 Africa Energy Summit presents an opportunity to leverage the opportunities that lie ahead.
Say that water is life. I think we all agree, isn't it? I'm here to add to that saying that energy is life. I'm here to say so. Yes, water is life, but how will you extract that water for human consumption, for agriculture, irrigation, for example, for industrial use, if you have no energy? Yes, those that live close to the water bodies, natural water bodies, perennial water bodies, will access some water. But they will not even be able to access it in a manner that will keep them safe in terms of health. Energy again, to process, to purify our water. So let's go away with an additional minimums that we should be saying that energy is life, as is water. I would like to argue. From the outset, Zambia is committed to universal energy access to all our people in the country, in our regions, on our continent, as it is for our global community. Very, very important. And affordable energy, affordable, if you like, food will only come when we've increased our productivity. And to increase our productivity, we need to irrigate. To irrigate, we need energy. Simple. So I am connecting the two. I think having said all of that, there is no issue about, I think, individual countries' commitments. We are committed. We've already signed anyway. I think the issue is really how do we progress from here? May put a bit of context in terms of Zambia. We all talk about green energy because of climate change and other challenges that we're faced. True, very true. Zambia, just 24 months ago, was sitting in a pretty position of having an energy surplus, electricity. 85% of it green. Tick the box. Never anticipated the worst drought in living memory. Bang. It took out probably 2 gigawatts of green energy, hydro. Took out. We already had the capacity. We were exporting in the region through the Southern African Power Pool. But one shot basically decapitated us in terms of the energy that was available to our households, to industry, mining in particular, included in there, and agriculture. What's the lesson? Diversification. This summit, Mission 300, Africa Energy Summit, I believe, and I'm listening to the conversations here, includes a critical element of having the right energy mix. Green, yes, but the right energy.
Now into some health news. Acting Health Minister Frank Tayali has called on Zambians to unite and combat cancer. Today, during the launch of the World Cancer Awareness Week, Mr. Tayali said the country records over 15,000 new cases annually and that the majority are new cases, noting that about 9,000 people die from the disease. The World Cancer Awareness Week comes ahead of World Cancer Day that will be commemorated on the 4th of February 2025. Mr. Tayali explained that government is committed to addressing the challenges posed by cancer and has put up various interventions through the Ministry of Health to help curb the disease. He said the interventions put in place include awareness campaigns, screening programs, and support networks. World Cancer Day is commemorated every year on the 4th of February to raise awareness, educate the public, and encourage action to prevent and treat cancer. This year's World Cancer Day will be commemorated under the theme United by Unique. Now, government has unveiled the Citizen Support Services portal in a bid to strengthen citizen engagement and improve service delivery. This innovative online platform enables citizens to report issues, request assistance, and track the status of their requests in real time. The portal, developed by the Electronic Government Division Smart Zambia Institute, aims to bridge the gap between citizens and the government, promoting transparency, accountability, and efficiency in service delivery. Speaking during the launch of the portal, Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Kangwa, has hailed the launch of the Citizen Support Portal as a momentous milestone in Zambia's journey towards a more connected and citizen-focused government, adding that the days of Boma Iyanganepo are now a thing of the past, as their voices will now be heard on the portal. Mr. Kangwa emphasized that the portal is designed to provide citizens with a convenient and user-friendly interface to access government services. Speaking at the same event, Namibia's Secretary to the Cabinet, Dr. George Simata, said his country has much to learn from Zambia in citizen-centric governance, especially with the launch of the Citizen Support Portal. Meanwhile, head of the Presidential Delivery Unit, Kusobile Kamwambi has stressed the portal's role in promoting efficiency, accessibility and transparency regardless of distance and economic status are accorded a chance to interact with the government. And Smart Zambia's national coordinator, Percy Chinyama, has emphasized that the citizen support portal acts as a bridge between the government and its citizens, adding that it enables the public service to deliver services according to its intended purpose.
I want to mention further that the lack of integrated systems hindered efficient service delivery, creating duplication of efforts and delays in resolving cases. Citizens repeatedly face the burden of providing the same information to different departments, while inadequate access to accurate and up-to-date information further fueled confusion and inefficiencies.
I would like to say you have a great team from what I've seen. I should not spoil your morning and your speeches, but I would like to thank you and say that really I am learning now. I came from Kenya. They have put on each service 22,000 services. I think Kenyans are 56 million or 53 million. Zambians are 20 million. And if we go that way digitally as Africans, we will be able to certify our citizens. We will not be changing governments, I think so. Because people will be happy. There will be no reason for them to be unhappy with the government in the city. So I want to encourage you, and I think we will copy at best.
The upper forms show us that everybody is performing well. You get 75% performance and above for the entire ministry. And yet when you go on social media and see the complaints that the public is giving, you wonder, is this the same institution they're talking about where everybody else is performing so well? So we tried to establish what the disconnect was. And of course, one of the reasons we found was that much as we had done so much work in ensuring that each ministry has a service charter, there was no method of holding these institutions accountable. Secretary to Cabinet, other than reporting issues, this portal is actually really bringing government closer to the people. As Percy said, Boma Pafupi, this is what it's about. So it's not just about complaining, but when people require government services, they now don't have to travel to the office. They can get their queries responded to just by the click of a button. I was happy to see that we're actually having a lot of Zambians in the diaspora.
The Citizens Portal is a powerful service portal. It's a mechanism that will ensure that the public service delivery is constantly evolving based on feedback. This initiative reflects our dedication to creating a government that listens and learns. Not only are we a listening government, but we are also a learning government. Learning our people.
Now, the Zambian government has reaffirmed its dedication to advancing gender-responsive and inclusive social protection, coinciding with the country's hosting inaugural in-person meeting of the Social Protection Interagency Cooperation Board, SPERC-B, in Lusaka. The high-level event, co-chaired by the United Kingdom's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, and the United Nations International Children's Fund, UNICEF, brings together global stakeholders to share knowledge and strategies for strengthening social protection systems worldwide. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, Angela Kawandami, emphasized the government's efforts to address gender disparities and promote inclusive development. She noted that strong gender-responsive social protection can improve livelihood opportunities for women and girls while reducing violence, teenage pregnancies, and early marriages. Ms. Kawandami said the government remains committed to extending coverage and adequacy of social protection programs aiming to achieve sustainable development goals, particularly poverty reduction and gender equality. With women and girls comprising 50.5% of Zambia's population, their role in the country's economic, political and social development is crucial, she said. The SPEAC-B meeting aims to build an inclusive social protection system capable of reducing poverty and vulnerability while promoting sustainable livelihoods. And British High Commissioner to Zambia, Byrne Smith, commended Zambia's progress in social protection, particularly the expansion of the Social Cash Transfer (SCT) program, which now benefits over 1.3 million individuals, mostly in female-headed households. The UK has invested over £39 million in Zambia's social protection programs over the last decade and remains committed to working with other partners to unlock opportunities for vulnerable women and girls. The SPEAC-B meeting has recognized Zambia's leadership in promoting social protection initiatives that address poverty and inequality while empowering women and girls. In other news, government has made a groundbreaking move by translating the Zambian Highway Code into 7 major languages as well as Braille and Chinese. This pioneering initiative aims to ensure that every Zambian, regardless of their linguistic or visual abilities, has access to essential road safety education and driver training. The Zambian School of Driving ZSD has commended the government's efforts, citing the significant impact it will have on driver training programs. According to Natasha Bwalia, ZSD's Driver Improvement Program Officer, driving schools can now provide more effective training for all learners, including those who may not understand the English language. Ms. Wadia says this milestone achievement demonstrates government's commitment to promoting inclusivity and road safety awareness among the people in Zambia.
Zambian School of Driving ZSD has commended the government for translating the Zambian Highway Code into all the 7 major local languages, including in Braille and Chinese. The translation of the Highway Code into the local languages is a first ever initiative of its kind and will ensure that no Zambian, and indeed no person living in Zambia, is left out in terms of road safety education and driver training. Driving schools would now be able to offer more effective training for all learners, including those that are not able to understand English. The translation of the highway codes could not have come at a better time than at this time, when the government has introduced CDF skills training bursaries for youths, which includes training in the driving skill. With the ongoing CDF-sponsored driver training programs, the translation into all the major local languages will help remove the language barrier that the sponsored youths who are not so academically advanced have been facing during their driver training. It was imperative that youths being trained under the CDF program receive highway codes that are in a language they are conversant with, for them to be effectively informed of the rules and regulations on the road, so that they are groomed into safe, legal and responsible drivers. The school recommends that government should partner with TVETA, driving schools and other relevant stakeholders in the distribution of the translated highway codes. This would ensure that the highway codes get into the right hands, namely learner drivers, especially those that are being trained under the CDF Skills Training Bursary Program, most of whom are not very conversant with English. This will make the training more effective and help ensure that the CDF funds achieve the intended results of churning out better trained drivers who will not only become drivers, but they will be safety conscious, thereby helping to reduce the road carnage on our roads.
And finally, we turn our focus to some religious matters. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Midlands West Zambia Conference. I'll read that again. Midlands West Zambia Conference Personal Ministries Director, Pastor Monde Ilukena, says the church, through the Adventists' main organization, AMO, will soon be handing over a mother's shelter to the government constructed by the organization. Pastor Ilukena explained that the Adventist Men's Organization plays a vital role in nurturing spiritual growth, promoting unity, and leading initiatives that strengthen families, communities, and the church at large. He was speaking during the induction of over 70 members of the Adventist Men's Organization from Lusaka West Mission District in Midlands West.
Over 70 members of Adventist Men Organization from Lusaka West Mission District in Midlands West Zambia Conference were inducted in the Fellowship of Christ. Midlands West Zambia Conference Personal Ministries Director, Pastor Monde Ilukena, emphasized that the church needs men who are willing to serve and uphold the faith of Christ. Pastor Monde made these remarks during the AMO induction ceremony held at Sekelela SDA Church.
This church needs elders that are willing. Two things that Peter speaks of. They must be willing to feed the flock. Secondly, Peter also says they must be watchmen of the flock. They must watch over the flock. I charge you now as elders to know that you are not coming into this office as an elder that just announces announcements. Be willing to say and work as the scripture and the honor of the work God demands.
He further elaborated on the projects the Adventist men are doing within the community.
The greatest activities that we conduct as AMO is primarily to equip our men as far as being industrious is concerned. We equip our men in various skills so that they can be industrious, and when they are industrious, they in turn also bless the work of the Lord in impacting the community that we live in. For instance, we are soon to give a handover of a project that we ran for the past 3 years at Sompola. That is a mother's shelter.
We are helping men in terms of entrepreneurship by teaching some skills, because there are men that have no skill. And so for them to be industrious, they have to have a skill.
Meanwhile, Lushomo Hamilangu, a newly ordained elder, encouraged other youths to exhibit good behavior and take up higher responsibilities in the church.
The advice that I can give to my fellow youths is that to work for God, it doesn't matter the age. All what you need is to do what is right through the guidance of the Holy Spirit. So the age is not really the issue, but what's the thing that you need to put much into consideration is the behavior.
The Adventist Men Organization plays a vital role in nurturing spiritual growth, promoting unity, and leading initiatives that strengthen families, community, and the church at large. Zanis reports in Lusaka.
Well, that item brings us to the end of the news. Before we go, let's recap on stories that made headlines. Fire guts a gas store in Makeni, Conga. Lusaka women calls for government's aid due to floods. Republican President Hakainde Hichilema says energy is life, and AMO to soon hand over a mother's shelter to government. Thank you so much for your time. On behalf of the entire studio and production team, I'm Bright Sinkers. Pleasant viewing and God bless.